Yes, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the talkSPORT Darts YouTube channel. My name is Harry Durham. Feeling a bit weird this morning off the back of the World Grand Prix. Yeah, Luke Littler has won yet another major in 2025, if you count the UK Open as well. World Championships completed, Grand Prix completed it, Match Play completed it. Could he do the Slam? I mean, it would be an absolute joke. We know how much of a phenomenon he is. The thing that I'm feeling bizarre with, obviously off the back of his win, spoke to Sky, the great Abigail Davis, friend of the channel as well, and says that he's going to be playing in the youth championships, which he's already won. I mean, the darting world, I feel like is really split in half with this because he is eligible with him being 18. But Phill Barrs of Online Darts, what I mean, you were in Leicester for the whole week of the Grand Prix. What was the feeling like in the press room? Obviously, you probably caught wind of it before he announced it on stage. But what was the feeling like with the other journalists when that news had come out? Was it a bit of a shock?
Yeah, it was a shock because obviously he missed it last year. And as you say, yeah, we got wind of it early on in the week that he was going to do it, and apparently this had been months in the making. This wasn't a knee jerk decision. This is something that had been planned into his calendar for a long time this year. It's something that he wanted to do, but the press room were very split. Like you said, he's done nothing wrong, the same as Gian Van Veen. That it's within the rules, so it's not the player's fault. But the press room was split on it.
It's weird that I mentioned the accolades in which he's won this year, and he's been absolutely phenomenal. I mean, I love Luke as a player. I love Luke as a person. I mean, whenever we spend time with each other, he's spot on. But I think something has really got to give, and we've had conversations about the development tour as well with tour card holders winning development tours, and we're not mentioning any names as well. But it just seems a bit bizarre. Obviously, Hian, 24 years old as well. The age elements of it don't make sense to me. But still, at the same time, I do think it's a bit unfair with Luke Littler, who is going to be world number one, is going to be going to Wigan, and the lowest age that can participate is 14 years old. I know it's an experience for these teenagers to play in, don't get me wrong, but a lot of these people are young players will get the experience, but they're going to want to think, you know what? I want to come up against someone that isn't going to be the world number one in a couple of months. I just think, in my opinion, the organisation of it is a bit off, and I mean it's been like it for years anyway.
Yeah, no, I'm in the camp, and like I say, this isn't the player's fault. They're only playing within the boundaries that are set by it. But I agree, I'm not a fan of it. I look at the development tour for this year. All those players that are eligible to play on that tour are striving to get into the top echelons of that ranking and be eligible to then go and participate today in the World Youth Championship. Now, there's a couple of elements that I don't like. Is one, if you're on that cusp, you're not going to be eligible to play because of these players coming in. So you've played all year thinking I've done enough, and then all of a sudden you haven't because they're bringing these players in. And then two, that this is for me, although it's not officially, it's looked at. The World Youth is the climax of the development tour. Now you've got players that are going to potentially go and win this that haven't played on that tour all year because they're not eligible. So then why should they be eligible to play in the payoff, so to speak? That this is about developing talent and giving them a chance to shine and go and win a World Youth title, not the world number two as we record this, one in a very short space of time. You've also got Gian Van Veen, who is absolutely an incredible player, into the top 16, going to be a top 10 player without any question. Josh Rock could have also played in this if he had chosen to. So it just doesn't sit right with me. The rules is the thing that play. You can never blame the players because they're playing within the boundaries that they're allowed to. But for me, something needs tweaking. Like you said, the Dev Tour, for me personally, there should be no tour card holders. They've upped it from the top 32 to the top 64, which is a start. For me, that still doesn't go far enough. But I agree that something needs to be looked at almost to protect these youngsters as well. If you've got a young 16-year-old coming through and they're developing and they get absolutely walloped, does that do them any good long term?
I think that's the same. I think that's the same with the youths as well. If Luke draws someone that's like a 75, 70 average, then he rocks up with 102. I mean, you could get a matey boy that comes off young man or young girl, comes off the oche and just throws the darts down being like, I don't want to do this. I understand wholeheartedly that's the challenge, that's the mental challenge, it's the ability challenge that you're going to have to face these players. And Luke Littler is a phenomenon. He is a darting freak in a way. But, like you were saying then about a development tour, I don't think that helps anyone in the youth. Some people might come off and go, bloody hell, that was a great experience. That's what's to come. Or it's just going to knock the stuffing out of someone. That's where I don't think it's right.
Well, there's also another knock-on that people perhaps haven't thought about, and I might be looking at this too deep. And this is a big if Luke qualifies for the World Youth Final and he gets to the semi-finals of the Players' Championship, he could have to play semi-final of the Players, final of the World Youth, final of the Players' Championship if he wins that semi-final. Now, for him, that's fine. He just wants to be on the stage. He's going to love that, just back to back to back. But for the fans, for argument's sake, you could have Van Veen against Littler in both finals. Is that what do the fans want to watch an exact replica of the game they've just seen? I'm not sure. But the other thing is, if it's not, Luke's opponent in the Players' Championship, I don't think it's fair on them. Because if they play first, then you've got the World Youth, which Luke is in both, and then the final. That other player is going to be left waiting to do the bull-up. The preparation times are all going to be out that are normally done during that World Youth because it can't be done because Luke's on stage. So there are other knock-on effects to other major tournaments as well. And I say potentially because it might not happen, but darts is a funny sport and it throws up these curveballs that you think, it will never happen, and it does. So things like that need to be looked at as well. I just think it's a bit of a mess. Don't get me wrong, for the PDC, it would look great. The World Youth Final could be any combination of Luke, Bo and Gian, say, and that's a great marketing tool. Look at our youth final. They're going to put in astronomical averages and it'll be an unbelievable spectacle. So from a marketing point of view, I completely understand why the PDC want this. Why wouldn't you? But strip that back. Is it the right thing? Not for me.
Do you think it's fair?
No, not at all.
But it just sums it all up.
Yeah, no, I just don't think it is. The World Youth is designed for players like Charlie Manby, Ryan Branley, and so on. This is their chance to shine, and potentially they're not going to get it.
Well, you look at obviously what a lot of these players have been doing at Modus. You mentioned about Charlie Manby there. He's going to be playing at the World Championships this year. It is announced this weekend. But it is designed for those people. And, you know, it's a weird one because obviously Gian and Luke have both won one. And, you know, people will say in the comment section, be like, oh, that's like saying, you know, if Italy win a World Cup, they can't play in the next one because they've already won it. But I think it's different sort of like metrics. If you're already killing it and going into latter rounds of major tournaments, also every single Euro Tour, if you're looking at Gian van Veen as well, I think there needs to be a cap. There really does. There needs to be a cap of, you know, how much someone has already participated and what they're challenging for as well. And I bring up the prize fund as well for the World Youth Championships. Champion, obviously, £12,000, a place in the World Championships, and then obviously a place in the Grand Slam as well. If Luke goes on and wins that, does that then go down to the runner-up, with the runner-up also getting £6,000 and the place in the Grand Slam? But then will it get complicated? Because then obviously you've got the semi-finalists to think about as well. I mean, we're the lucky ones that we don't need to think about that headache. But still, there could be people that are missing out when obviously Luke Little is already qualifying for those tournaments anyway.
Yeah, no, 100%. The winner and runner-up get slam spots anyway, so that's not an issue. Then does it drop to the semi-final? No, it will just go back into the qualifying criteria. We know there are changes for next year's Grand Slam coming anyway. We don't know exactly what they are, but we know it's going to a 48-player field. By the money release, it's going to be 16 groups. And again, I'm just surmising, but I would imagine the top 16 in the world will be your seeds and so on. So the qualifying criteria for next year, hopefully, is going to be simplified a little bit, because it is a little bit messy at the moment. The Grand Slam, for me, is one of those tournaments that has never really recovered. When it was the cross-code tournament, it was brilliant. It had an identity. And since then, it's kind of lost that. It's just been meandering along. It's the Slam, and so fingers crossed that they sort that out next year. But yeah, like you say, Luke and Gian are going to be in these tournaments, the Slam and that. So it is taking a place away from one of these players to have a look at what a PDC major looks like and so on. And the Slam's the safe one. The way I use safe is if you qualify for the World Championships, you could be in and out in 10 minutes. If you get a dodgy draw as a youngster, you draw Littler, for argument's sake, at the Worlds on night 1, 3-0, cheers, thanks for coming. The Grand Slam, you get 3 games. So you get chance to learn and develop on that stage. So it's the safe tournament to put these youngsters in. But yeah, look, I just think there are so many bits and bobs that need clarifying and need changing. Don't get me wrong, over the last few years, the PDC have done a really good job at shutting loopholes, like qualifying for World Championships, players being able to keep their tour cards through affiliate and associate tours and so on. And they've done a great job in closing them, but there are still a few glaring ones that need closing and sorting out for me.